Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Worthy Worth It and Priceless. I am your host, Tammy Simmons, and this podcast episode is called I Love You, But I Gotta Leave You Alone. And if you are a fan of Jeezy, you know where this reference has come from. I was listening to his song, Leave You Alone, which is featuring Neo, and I was realizing what an interesting topic that this is. Because some of us have been in that situation, and you know that person is no good for you. But for some reason, it just keeps pulling you back. And sometimes it is just basically the thrill of it. It is the potential. It's, I don't want them to be with anybody else. So, you know, um, it is sometimes like we're missing something. Sometimes we just want somebody next to us. You know what I mean? Sometimes the bedroom action is all that there is, but at the end of the day, the point that you recognize that this isn't good for you, that is when things has to change in your mind. And you have to start making preparations to leave. And you're like, well, how do I do that? The first thing you do is you look at the full picture. So just say if you are pleasured inside of the bedroom, then you look outside of the bedroom. Is there things outside of that that make you happy? You know what I mean? Or whatever. And if it's not, like, you start looking at those things, not to a point of hating somebody, but you have to actually see the full picture. Because sometimes what we do is just stay stuck with somebody because we we like the pleasure, we like the thrill, but also it's to the point that you don't want to be alone. And it comes down to a point that you have to really start looking at yourself in the mirror and start asking hard questions. I am not in love with this person. Why am I still here? I want to move on with my life, but why am I still here? What is keeping me stuck in this situation? And start keeping tabs of that. And it's really going to be uncomfortable, but it is something that you actually need to see. You sometimes need to see things written out, like, why is this happening? And sometimes it's not even just the pleasure or other things that I've named. It's like as soon as you try to leave, then all of a sudden breadcrumbs, breadcrumbs start coming out. And that thing that you've asked them to do the entire time, all of a sudden they start doing it. And so that's manipulation. And they get you to accept them. Whatever this breadcrumb that you may say about them or you wanted them to do, all of a sudden they do it. And so now you see the potential and now your eyes light up like, yes, they're finally getting it. Yes, we can finally have the relationship that I thought in my mind, blah, blah, blah. And when it seems as though everything has gotten to where it's supposed to be, or you guys are doing good for 2 or 3 days, maybe even a week, they have did the thing. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, they go right back to normal. And then your high is gone. And you're like, oh my God, how did I get back here? And now all of a sudden, you're right back in that cycle. You're going back to possibly even telling them, I don't like when you do this, or you know what I mean? All this other stuff. And then next thing you know, they go back to the potential and whatever you liked and all that other stuff. They give you the breadcrumbs. And then they disappear and go back to the same person. That's why you have to see the full picture. And even if you have to write down the cycle, write it down because now you can see, and you can see for yourself that you're not crazy. Because what happens is sometimes people like that will try to make you feel as though you are going crazy. And then they will say things like, well, you knew this when you started dating me. No, I did not. This was you showed me your representative. You didn't show me all these things. Of course they didn't show you all that because they wanted to suck you in. And then when it seems like you're about to leave, the representative shows back up and they show up with the breadcrumbs and all this other stuff. And then you see the potential that you've been asking them for the entire time. Now they show it and then they disappear again. Like a magic act, like a magician. And you're like, I love them and all this other stuff, but they don't respect you. You see the potential. They don't want to live up to it. You can see everything that they could be, but you cannot fall in love with the potential. You have to see the full picture. And I hope I am not ruining these songs for you. These are just inspired. Do not stop listening to these songs. But even the thing about the last time, don't go back. The last time types of things, those are traps. And I'm not saying like anybody's trying to harm you or anything like that, but that is what keeps you stuck. When you have made up your mind, you're saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You already made up your plan and everything. And the next thing you know, you're like, you know what? Time has passed. Let me see if this person has changed. Let me just, I'm going to end this after this or whatever. And sometimes people don't have that last time. And I'm not talking about death or anything like that. But because that last time ends into you having a child. Now you're basically stuck with this person for the rest of your life. And it is that person that you knew that was unsafe. You knew that this person had the potential but didn't want to live up to it. You knew everything. But what I'm saying is you have to love yourself more. So even if looking at the full picture isn't enough, think about if somebody that you love deeply is going through that same thing. How would you feel? What kind of advice would you give them? You would probably tell them, oh, you got so much going on for you. You don't have to be with that person. Then why do you have to be with that person? Why are you still there? The person that you love the most should be you. Don't put yourself down or take yourself off the pedestal and put them up there as if their needs are worth more than yours. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have love that lasts longer than 15 minutes. You deserve to be with somebody who's not going to lie to you, constantly disrespect you. You deserve that. But you got to see that. And that is something too. You have to change the way that you see yourself. And you have to change the way that you think or what you deserve. You deserve somebody who's going to be honest with you, who's going to love you and not put you out there as if you are discounted or a clearance rack. You have love inside of you. You are a great person. And there is somebody out there who's going to love you, but you have to love you first. You have to love yourself enough that you're not going to allow anybody just to treat you like yesterday's news or old trash, because that's not you. You know that you have to leave that person alone. And it's not easy, but day by day, because you love yourself, you're going to do what is needed. You have to love yourself. We live in a world where people are not, like everybody who we think is going to be there, everybody isn't going to be there. So if you are neglecting yourself, then who is going to be there? You know that leaving that person is right. And that may be the only person that you've ever known and all that other stuff, but you have to make that decision. And make the decision when it's right for you. Don't just do it because I'm saying it. Because you're the one who has to actually live through that. Trust me. Never mind. But at the end of the day, you have to start seeing yourself differently. You have to start seeing the love that you deserve. You have to see that I understand that you have been through things and people may have did you dirty your entire life. You've had childhood trauma, all these different things, and you're thinking, this is my person. I would say seek God, see if this is your person. And even if it is, it may not be right now. But I'm telling you, don't stay stuck and in love with potential just because you don't want to be alone. Don't stay stuck with someone just because you think that this is all you deserve or this is the only one who's going to love you, because it's not true. You have to take those ideas and those thoughts out of your mind, especially if that person planted them there, because a lot of times they will plant those things there so you won't leave. You are good for them, but they are not good for you. And once you see that, there's no going back. There's no last time. But you have to see that in yourself. And how you do it daily. You start writing down things that you love about yourself. You start seeing yourself differently. Even if it's one thing that you do differently, you start it. You start day by day. Because people will try to rip you down to shreds just so they could stay with you. And then when they find somebody else, there they will be. A lot of times people love you while you're stuck. When you don't know your potential, when you don't know your worth. That's cool because I can stay here rent free. Not even just physically, I can stay rent free in your mind. And while I'm doing what I'm doing in my life, I know that I can always come back because you will be mentally right where I left you. By saying nobody else is going to want you. You're going to have a hard time finding somebody else. Things like that. The point that you can call out that this person is not good for you should be enough for you to leave that person alone. And I'll leave you with this. If you're driving down the street and they say dead end, or it says construction or bumpy road ahead, something that you don't really want to go through, right? What do? For the most part, you will turn around and go a different direction. But why is it when we see this person as a dead end, crappy streets, bumpy roads, all this different stuff, why is it that we continue down that road? Why do we continue down that path? I just want to see, because maybe it's not as hard as I think it is. No, it could be that and much worse. So next time you see that, don't even invest. Don't even go any further. Turn around and go down another path. Because you have worth, you have value, and you are always worthy, worth it, and priceless. And you don't need anyone else to validate that. You don't need anyone else's permission. You have to see yourself that way. Taking one day at a time. The thrill isn't worth it. And with that being said, always know, like I just said, you have worth, you have value, you are worthy, worth it, and priceless. If you would like more inspiration, I do have music out on all streaming platforms under my full name, Tammy Michelle Simmons. And I also have books on Amazon under my full name. No. Well, yeah, it is. It's just not my middle name. Tammy Simmons. And there's a book that is called Love Yourself First. And so I hope that this has helped you. And once again, make sure that you are loving yourself first because you deserve it.